Thank you, brother Remo. Okay, over to friends. Welcome to this Christian movie review. We are so glad you joined, and we just want to be friends with you. If you are here for the first time, to drop your number. This is for all friends who love watching movies, and we can get some value and understanding, and even some caution as we do this movie reviews, Christian movie reviews together. So you're most welcome, and we are so glad. So some of you have got your mobile name, so you can switch to your real name if you want, or yeah, or even before leaving, you could even drop your number so we can keep you connected. Because we are looking for people who love movies and who would love to come back and discuss this, because there's so much that comes out in discussion. Everybody has this unique insight. And I think we think movies can be a parable that can sometimes tell us about things, reminds us about the things of God or what's happening in this world in life. So there's just so much of a treasure that can be hidden in some of these good movies. Yeah. So we have decided to do a review of the series of Avatar, and God has provided Seva Gaddala, who is actually a freelance writer and aspiring screenwriter. And he's a former journalist who used to who used to write movies and music reviews for Indo-Asian news service. So Seva is really gifted in the way he can give a good review of movies, by talking about its background, its making, and he has got such not just information about its making, the technical information, but also he's got some great insights, and he can really identify themes. And while I was studying in UBS, me and few students, we really were quite amazed with Seva inviting us, for these movie reviews. And so we just want to share this with others. It's just a whole new genre of looking at movies, from the Christian perspective. And you're all free to discuss your thoughts also towards the discussion time. So over to Seva to give this review of to do this review of movie series Avatar, which is right now ruling the charts everywhere. Yeah, welcome, Seva.
Yeah. Thank you, Abhijit. Okay. So as Abhijit said, I think this is one of the reviews that is like the most recent that we're doing. The movie is still playing in theaters, so I mean we haven't done that yet. So I'm really happy that we're doing a review of this movie, and I think the first part came out in 2009, and I remember like watching the movie a little bit late. So I spoke to people who had already watched the movie, and I spoke to people across all ages and all backgrounds, and so I asked him like, so hey, how was the movie? And everybody, almost like to the dot, everybody was saying, oh, this is like a fantastic special effects. It's a great to look at. And I was like mesmerized by the otherworldly alien world. But the story is so bad, man. Oh, the story is like so simple. And the like story is so cliche. It's so common. So I didn't like the story, but I really liked the spectacle of the movie. And I was like, yeah, that's pretty much right. So when I watched the movie, and I definitely agreed with them as the first thing that struck me. The story is too weak, it's too simple, but the spectacle aspect of it is amazing. And then later over the years, as I began studying more and more about movies because I want to be a screenwriter, one thing that jumped out to me about this movie's director James Cameron is that his movies make a lot of money. Okay, I mean he's been making movies since like 1983, and if you add up the total amount of money all his movies have made was close to like 10 billion. Okay, so I was like, yeah, okay. And then when I began studying him, I realized that this is intentional. This is not a fault. He keeps his stories simple because he wants the attention and the focus to be on the spectacle, on the special effects. So when you're doing something grand or experimenting or something new, right, you want to keep the story simple. Okay. Now, but that's not the only reason why his movies are so popular. The other big reason why his movies are so popular is because he has really universal themes. Okay, so that's why his movies do well across all countries. Um, his themes are very universal. So if you look at the movie Titanic, or something like the, of course, Avatar Part 2 and 3 and 1, he's made even this movie called True Lies, and then Aliens. If you look at all these movies, they have really, really universal themes. So for like Titanic, it's about love, and it's about love across class divides. You know, rich girl, poor guy. Then if you look at True Lies, it's about a family in trouble. If you look at Terminator 2, it's about this alien come from the future to defend a guy. The whole movie is just about him defending this guy. And so that's the reason. So James Cameron is a genius in that sense. He's one of the very few guys who makes action movies, who makes special effects, but marries them and combines them with spectacle, with special effects. So I really admire him for that. So if you look at the Avatar movies, um, all three movies are pretty similar. And the themes that are there in the movies run through all three parts, right? And we will move on to that and we will discuss that. I'll keep this talk short because I have a feeling that a lot of people will want to like chip in and talk about this movie because it's a so popular movie or whatever. So I won't talk much. I'll just try and like lay the platform for us to discuss more. So before we move into the themes, um, there's one trope that this movie plays on, and this is not a trope that many people like or even admire, and we even complained about it. And this is the trope of the white savior messiah. And I think I mentioned the same thing before when we discussed about Article 15. It's an Indian movie. Article 15 was about this cop. He's a high caste cop. He goes to this rural area somewhere in North India, and in that village, there's been a murder of a low caste girl, a Dalit girl. So this cop comes to this village, and he helps the Dalit guys. He's their savior. He's the one who solves the case, even though it's the low class people who are suffering, and they don't fight, they don't like unite or whatever. This man has to go help them, unite them, teach them their ways, and then solve the problem. So even Avatar is the same thing. It's a white guy who goes to this alien planet, meets the indigenous people, and then he betrays his own people, and then he leads them against the other white people. So that trope, and many people don't want to watch the movie just for that reason, just because they don't like this kind of a trope. So let's keep that in mind as we progress to discuss about the themes. Other thing that I want to clarify is, I mean, we are labeling this talk as a Christian review. This movie is not a Christian movie. It's not made by a Christian director, and the director is not trying to uh, embed any Christian themes in the movie. So what we're doing is we as Christians are approaching this movie with a Christian perspective. The themes are universal. The themes are non-religious. They may be philosophical, but they're not religious. So the most that we can do is bring our perspective in examining themes which are universal. Okay. So the first common theme, which is there in all three parts, but which is more evident in the first part, is about colonialism and corporate greed. Okay, it's very evident. So in the first part, Avatar, we have the people from Earth. So this is set in 2154. Earth is overpopulated. Resources are scarce. So they find this planet which has a lot of resources, and they come and they invade this place. They don't even negotiate with the local indigenous people. They don't discuss anything. They just come and invade, and they take the resources. And importantly, they don't care about the local people. They're not trying to do anything for their benefit. So, and this theme um, struck a lot of people at that time when the movie first came out, because it was just a few years after the Iraq War. So they were like, this reflects, the whole American imperial intentions. And then some people also drew parallels to the Vietnam War, very evident. Just America going invading some other country, not caring about the people, not doing anything for them. just for their own political Cold War, strategy or whatever. So, so even in India, we can draw a very clear parallel. So even in the present day, I don't think many people are aware of. There are many tribals who are being displaced. I think the Narmada Dam situation, I think 10, 20 years back was about that. And even many tribals being displaced from hills where they do mining, so this is the corporate thing, which with the help of the Indian government, right? And even in history, one of the best examples is the East India Company coming into India. I mean, I wish more people in India would know about this thing, because this is fascinating. The East India Company, when they first came to India, was just a small company, just a few hundred employees in a small building, and they slowly took over. And then the official British government, the country, took over the company, and they took over India. So, right? So even they came for the resources. And there are some Indians who I think foolishly say, oh, well, the British people, not everything about them was bad. At least they gave us the trains, and they gave us the English language, and they gave us cricket. And then at least they gave us the Raj, the whole bureaucracy, of government, the whole red tape thing. And I don't agree with that. I mean, the British people did not construct railways for our benefit. It wasn't for the country. It wasn't for India or the Indians. They had resources in interior parts of India. They wanted to loot India, send it all back to England, and they had to connect the rural areas with the port areas. So they built the railways. So this movie has a lot of echoes, right? And it reflects a lot of these themes of colonialism and um, corporate greed, right? So if we look at it from a Christian perspective, there isn't one Bible verse, or there isn't one passage, or there isn't one story which says that colonialism is bad or greed is bad. But in a very general way, the Bible does talk about greed being bad, right? And it talks about the rich oppressing the poor, how that is bad. People, prophets like Isaiah, Jeremiah, they had pointed out, these things about their own people and the marginalized communities, the poor people, even along the lines of forgiving people's debts, right? So even though we cannot draw direct parallels between corporate greed and the Bible does touch upon certain themes which are reflected and echoed and depicted in the Avatar movies, right? And the next most common theme, which is evident in all three movies, but more so in the first and second part, is the aspect of nature and about the environment. Now, this, I think, is probably one of the most controversial for us Christians to accept. Okay. Like I said before, the director kept the story very simple and cliche because he wanted to focus on the special effects and the spectacle aspect of it. And one aspect is this world, is this environment, is this creation. He has infused this world with a lot of meaning. It is just not a foreign place, which is like glamorous or whatever. He infused a lot of meaning. So, in this world, in Pandora, this alien world, he shows how the humans, as in like the Navi tribe, are connected to nature, both literally and metaphorically, right? Literally in the sense that they have this thing coming out of their hair, then they connect with other living beings, It's so on the nose, it's so obvious. We're all one, we're all connected, And some of us might think it's a little bit hippy dippy, a little bit like new age stuff, but that's the world. And the movie does not say that nature itself is divine. It doesn't say it is God. They don't worship it, but they do say that it is sacred, and they revere it a lot. And then there's a spirit, Iwa, right? That connects everybody. So we Christians, there are some Christians who say, oh, maybe this Pandora is symbolic of the Garden of Eden, right? Garden of Eden was pure. It was made for man's benefit. And then sin comes from outside, But I don't want to go too deep into that. I don't really agree with that. All that I want to say about the Christian perspective on the environment and creation or whatever is, we Christians believe that God created the world, and creation is one way that God reveals himself to us. He speaks to us through nature. He's not in nature, he's not part of nature, but he reveals himself through nature. And the other aspect is God has ordained us to be stewards of this world. He's given us dominion of this over earth, over the creatures, to take care of it, right? And to be stewards of it. So we can only go as far as to say respect and be stewards of. We're not going to worship or revere nature as such, right? And the third and the last one that I want to speak about, which is the least controversial, this is the one that we can all agree with, is the aspect of family. Now, this is evident in all three, and especially more so in part two and part three, right? In part two, he gets married, he has his own family, and the movie jumps ahead to a few years. And this, I think, the way the family is constructed uh, comes close to reflecting some few Christian ideals, right? The one thing I like about this movie is in part two and part three, the director chooses to focus more on the family, and each kid has their own arc. You know, each kid is dealing with their own issues, and I like that. It's so respectful. It's saying that even children are important, even family is important. This is an action movie. Come on, this is a spectacle movie, and yet he chooses to focus on the whole dynamics between the father and the son. Spoiler alert, I think the son dies, the eldest one dies, and they show how the family deals with grief, you know. And in Jake Sully, the lead character in the family, he comes very close to representing the picture of fatherhood depicted in the Bible. He's a protector. He defends his family. He thinks about his family first, right? And all the decisions that he makes in part two and part three are for the protection of the family, for their safety. Yes, there is an overarching main plot, where Earth, Sky people, and the company is fighting against the locals. But on a lower level, on a B plot, C plot level, we have the family. We have the family having their own issues, and even them. So their plot lines are integrated into the larger plot line, right? And even the wife, Nayatiri, I think her name is, fiercely independent woman. She's a warrior, and yet their marriage is like a partnership. It's equal. They both make decisions together, right? And they show the equality of it all, and they spend so much of time discussing about the kids, discussing about their well-being. And I like that. I mean, I'm not a father or a husband, but as a universal theme, I really appreciated that, right? Especially in an action movie, because action movies are supposed to be just bad guys and good guys and just shoot them all up, right? Like that. So I like that part. And so yeah, so basically these three themes, right? The movie touches upon them. I don't know. He has plans. The director has plans to make part four and part five. Everybody's saying that the movies are becoming very repetitive. They're becoming very monotonous. They may have to do something very different. I don't know. I don't know if the movie will change so much. Maybe he'll introduce some new themes. That'll be interesting. That'll be exciting. Because I know it'll be a great spectacle. I know it'll have amazing special effects, right? And I know the story is going to be pretty basic and simple, but I'm interested to know what the themes will be, right? So I want to close with this line that they keep repeating in the movie. And I know I said, right, the director doesn't give much importance to the story. As a matter of fact, even the screenplay, the dialogue is pretty bad. I mean, it's very amateurish. I mean, they use words like bro and cuz, and the dialogue is too on the nose. It's not like deep or profound, And we make fun of James Cameron for that. Even Titanic, it has a very clunky dialogue. Actually, the thing about his movies is Titanic got a Best Picture nomination. It got 11 nominations for Oscars, but not for Best Screenplay. So that's a telling sign. Anyway, so even though his screenplay is a little bit cheesy or whatever, I like this one line where he said, where the characters kept saying, "I see you," right? And that keeps coming up. And it's not as profound as "I love you." And I don't know if this is supposed to be more profound than "I love you," but "I see you," because The father says to his son, the brothers say to each other, he says to his wife, and they all say to each other. And I like that. I see you. It's like I acknowledge you. I recognize you. I see you for who you really are, right? And I just want to use that uh, for all of us, for people who love movies, for people who watch movies to dig deep, to learn something, who believe that movies can be maybe even for Christians to spread the gospel, whatever. So to you, all I want to say, I see you. Yeah, that's the themes.
Right, right. Yeah, okay. Thank you so much, Seva, for doing a wonderful